Welcome back to the Bogey Society. This here is episode something or other. Honestly, I can't even keep track anymore because we've done so many. I actually really love this episode. It's just a check-in after the holidays. It's a check-in to see how everybody's doing on their progress. And I think you're going to really enjoy it. I'm going to go play a quick 18, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.
That's a great afternoon, though.
That's how you know you got to keep her.
Designated driver, got a built. Yeah, just absolutely. Kids, have fun. Mommy's going to get tanked. We'll see you later. Yeah.
Well, we're back, fellas. Welcome back to the Bogey Ball Society. How you guys doing? How are the holidays?
Pretty good, actually.
Yeah, they were good.
I say actually like they're not good, but they're often good. But I think I go in with a lot of trepidation with two kids and being far away from family and stuff. But it was a great week.
Mine were nuts leading right up to like Christmas Eve because my daughter was in the Nutcracker. I think I told you about that. We were hosting a lot of people that came to town to see her perform and all that stuff. So we had a ton of company in the house, and then we left to go to my mother-in-law's for Christmas. But the span of like a couple of days after Christmas, like right through New Year's, was just kind of the five of us laying low and at the house, and it was board games and movies and just kind of lame and cool because of it. You know what I mean? It was pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. How was the Nutcracker, Hayes?
How many
I don't want
tiers?
to forfeit my man card and admit that I like it, but I've been brainwashed. I've had to see the Nutcracker for at least 10 years in a row now. And yeah, of course, my daughter's
Aren't your kids only 8?
Yeah, I'm definitely the guy, like I'm taking my wife because she loves it so much. It's definitely her thing, but I've come to look forward to it. Now my kids, my boys in particular, just lay there like, can we go? How much longer is this? Yeah.
Was it any different now that their sister was in it? Like, were they a little more into it or no?
Well, so this year she was one of the mice, which if you're familiar with the Nutcracker, comes maybe 10 to 20 minutes into the production. And then there's a lot to sit through once their sister's off the stage, right?
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah. Brian, and I'll tee it up for you, though. I'm sitting there like a weirdo going, man, she has some really good calf muscles. Look at that. How do I do that?
So you're saying there is something genetic there, but maybe it doesn't come from your side of the family tree.
I'm saying I've now joined the ballet company. Whatever it takes, baby.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Go for your goal, Says. Don't let me bring you down.
I will say in recent events, so it's been a rude conclusion to my holiday season. Like we got a lot of snow today, 14 inches.
Oh,
so
at once?
Yeah, all in one 12 to 18 hour period. So I was shoveling the driveway.
Brutal.
Yeah. Something else I learned, by the way, or the kids learned the hard way. My cold plunge on the back porch that is frozen solid, not quite frozen solid. My 9-year-old, hey, watch me, Daddy, and got on it on all fours. Good to go, no problem. His 11-year-old older brother, who's about 15 pounds heavier, cracked right through that baby.
He got introduced to cold plunging.
It was his first cold plunge, and he'll probably never do it again.
Wow.
You must have been so proud.
Right. Yeah. A little scary, but I'm glad he learned the lesson in that environment, right?
Oh,
man.
No kidding. Seriously, not on a pond or something.
Hayes, I have a guess that you immediately pulled him out, toweled him off,
and
then jumped in. That's right.
No. So then breathe through it. This is good. You're reducing inflation. You feel
That's
you're
right.
overactivating? You can do this, buddy.
Now you're ready to finish clearing the driveway. Good job.
There we go.
Right.
Yeah. Now let's see how far you can hit a ball. Let's do this.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
All right. Well, I'm glad you guys had some good holidays, but we've been talking leading up to the holiday about, our off-season goals and kind of what we're trying to get after for the next year. I'd love to hear from you. How are things going so far? We're going to do a bit of a progress check here with this podcast episode and talk about, have you been able to take some action in pursuit of those kind of mini goals that we established? But before we do, though, I do have an equipment update.
Early
I'm going to show you my chef, and then you show me yours. I'm not
I thought
participating
this
in
was
this
a family podcast.
Yeah.
That's weird though. Hayes, yours looks suspiciously like mine.
Matt's not going to show us his.
I
But
don't
these
show
are-
anybody my shaft unless they pay me some good money. So
Right. And I
Oh,
won't be
that's-
doing that. I've just spent all my money on Christmas gifts.
Mm.
So these are 3 shafts from TPT, the long game shafts. So I've got the Nitro in the driver and the Power Series in the 3-wood and 7-wood. Yeah, Matt, Brian, and myself
Mhm.
are now TPT ambassadors. TPT is not sponsoring us. We are at the podcast.
let's make it really clear.
Not yet, anyway.
If we say it often enough, I think they'll hear it.
Yeah,
Just
TPT or not yet?
TPT.
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 If we had polos or a hoodie, they'd be
Oh, I
front
want
page
the polo.
sponsors. I
Yeah.
know
I
you
know.
do.
Yeah.
I know you do.
But yeah, we're pretty excited about this. Again, Matt, Brian, and I are ambassadors. Jason is not. A lot of reasons for that, and we'll talk about that in a second. lot of reasons.
There's at least 2 that I could
But
think
if
of.
anyone, let's fill some folks in on the tech story behind TPT, because most golf shafts, most of the shafts in the golf clubs of our listeners are handmade, right?
Yeah.
So there's some, for lack of a better term, some human error and variance built into that. TPT, who's kind of new in the golf game, they've been doing stuff in carbon with like what is the deal, like Formula One race cars and
Yeah,
F1
sailboat?
cars,
Sailboat.
the sailboats. Yeah.
Yeah, like the
So-
America's Cup. So not like your uncle's dinghy.
Yeah.
Speaking of shafts,
Right.
But it was a long holiday. All right.
Right.
They're really fast.
no, but
boats.
like the America's Cup, right? The Larry Ellison Oracle stuff. Like, yeah, they are
Yeah.
for real. Yeah.
So TPT is machine making these shafts, which eliminates that kind of human error, right? Allows them to produce a shaft that has no spine, which I won't get too much into the details here, but every one of those man-made shafts has a spine. So when you hear about puring or spine aligning a shaft,
Mhm.
that's trying to identify the spine and position it properly align it to, in turn, hopefully allow a golfer to find the center of the club face more often. Not an issue with TPT at all. And Matt, you've actually been able to hit this some, and the technology delivers, right? Like you're finding the center of the club face a lot
Well,
more
all
often.
right, listen. Let's not go crazy and say I do it every time. But I will say that I have the same lineup as you. I have a 7-wood, a 3-wood, and a driver. And the driver is the Nitro,
Yeah.
the 3 and the
Yep.
7. They have 2 lines. They have a Nitro line and a power line. And the Nitro is a little bit lighter, with theoretically a little more flex. Kind of, I think that is their long drive guys are mostly in that.
It's a different material too, right? A higher price point, different
It's
material.
less torque. Yeah.
And so I have found so I put we'll tinker just a second. I put my 5-wood head on my 7-wood shaft because I wanted a little more distance than I was getting with the 7-wood. 7-wood was topping out at like almost 200, and I kind of wanted something to gap about 210, 215. And then my 3-wood's going 230, 240 roll out. And I played with the first time I put them in the bag, I had 2 par 5s where I kind of got out of position off the tee, and then hit just ridiculous 3-woods. And I was not trying to go for the green. I was 260 out, and I ended up 22 yards from the pin. And like on a dime, like it was the easiest thing I've swung. I really couldn't believe it. And it got to the point where at the end of the round, the guy that I was playing with, who was a Titleist pro, was like, "You should hit that off the tee."
I thought you were saying,
Like-
"Can I see your shaft?"
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, exactly. But it was, the 3 and the 7 have become my just absolute. The 3 and the 5. It's a 7-wood shaft, but it's a 5-wood. They feel like weapons. I did we'll get to this later, but I did a 3-club challenge, or technically 4 clubs. We called it a 3-club challenge, and then we used 4 clubs. So if that gives you any kind of window into our self-delusion as to who I play golf with.
You used a
Don't know how to
putter
not
too.
cheat.
3
Three
clubs, and a
clubs
putter.
plus a putter.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, but it on the second hole, they kept calling it 3-club, and I kept saying 4-club because there were other people around, and I was like, they can see how many clubs.
That's because you're the grammatically correct one. You needed to drill
Is
home that
very
a putter
true.
is a club.
That's right.
I understand it, Matt. I understand your
So
difficulty there.
Our listeners know you're in California and actually able to hit them.
Yeah.
Brian, you were able to kind of get out when you had.
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
bit
I
of a
had
warm
like
spell?
a 50-degree day, so I was able to go down to the range
Nice.
and it wasn't my best swings, but everything with the driver was within like a half-inch circle on the driver, and I was very, very impressed with the consistency and the performance of them.
Yeah.
And the reason why the hybrid doesn't have a head on it right now is because I found that I was getting a little too much distance out of it. So I'm actually going to go to a more lofted hybrid because it was kind of running into where my 5-wood kind of starts.
Fantastic.
So I wanted something closer to where my 4-iron ends versus getting up to where the 5-wood goes.
That's so great.
I never told you guys, but I did have a chance to hit these. About 10 days ago, I got on a simulator at a kind of a bar with some simulators. It's called Off-Par Entertainment around here.
Okay.
So I was able to hit them. I played Bandon Dunes. I shot a 76 at Bandon Dunes, so it's a very, very accurate simulator.
From what tees?
Wow. Yeah.
The tips, baby.
0 wind?
No, I played the no. Yeah.
No wind, no rain.
They're wide
degrees.
fairways at Bandon, I can tell you, if the simulator's accurate.
Yeah.
But
I
never, I didn't miss any of them though.
Oh, wow.
And
Not one?
I get, no, not one.
All right, well, that's
And
great.
I got consistently solid yardage off the fairway woods in particular. So I don't know that I trust simulators and exactly how much I can rely on them to like accurately assess my performance or capabilities in the moment. But I safe to say I left like really excited to get these on the course when, the 14 inches outside me melts and I can actually, maybe get on the course. But Jason, we do have to talk about why you have not become an ambassador for TPT. And a lot of reasons. One of them I think is just we've established you're 7 feet tall and you're outside the manufacturing tolerances, right? There's only so much carbon to go around.
It's too strong.
Right. I mean, you can't short an entire company just because you're tall, and I couldn't do that to you guys. I didn't want to be selfish.
Right.
It's true.
Also, you are left-handed. We can't have the shafts kicking the wrong direction.
Correct.
Exactly right.
Correct.
Any other reasons I'm not tracking here, fellas?
He's from Wisconsin, and it's the middle of tundra season. I believe it's
Right. Everything will freeze and break in there.
Yeah. I mean, it's about what is it outside right now? I think it's about 6 degrees outside right now. So carbon gets a little brittle, and you got to be you don't want anything to break. It's all right. I've accepted my fate.
We're lucking out so
Accepted
far
my fate.
outside of Boston here. Like, I have grass in the backyard.
Mhm.
The storm that was hitting you, Hayes, is like going through the mid-Atlantic states and not touching us, and
Yeah.
interesting.
it's not
Nice.
it's not freezing.
Hayes, I have a quick follow-up. You said you hit 14, I'm assuming 14 greens, 14, oh, Jesus,
Fairways.
14 fairways.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I missed one actually.
How many
Now
greens?
that I think about it. Not all of them.
Well, I really wanted to follow up with, and no greens. Like, it just,
No, I was probably 12 for 18.
That's a great thing.
I had
76.
to pull my 5-iron several times, and my 5-iron was just kind of hanging out to the right more than I wanted to. Some of that was user though. Like, it took me like 5 holes and a drink in to figure out how to like actually change where I was aiming on the simulator.
it is. I hate, honestly. I genuinely dislike hitting into simulators. Just in general, I find the pressure to hit a great shot every time that I just don't feel at the range. It's if I miss hit a ball or whatever, it just happens. It's no problem. I can go on to the next one. And somehow in the simulator, I there's so much. My only case of the yips came during a fitting, hitting into a net with all the numbers there. Like, it is awful. I will say though that I got out yesterday and I've been working on the driver because it isn't as, for me, plug and play as the 3 and the 7 would have been.
Uh-huh.
And I keep saying that 5 would, but the thing that I was doing previously that was working really well for me was a super deliberate backswing. And so I just kind of went back to that with the TPT. I think in my head, I was thinking I could just go crazy and it'll fix my swing by magic. Cause that's totally how, clubs
I think
work.
that's what the marketing says. Yeah.
And all of a sudden it was like, I mean, for me, bomb after bomb after bomb. And they were all within like 30 yards of each other, like just left to right. It was really encouraging. So I'm very excited to get back on the course with that driver because
Well, Jason feels better now. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's not
Did
it's
you,
not a magic fix.
Did you think about calling any of us when you were out there with your
Well,
cell
I got
phone?
some. Oh,
Yeah.
I see what you did there. I did have it back then.
I kind of need you to tell this story because from what I initially understood, it sounded like you'd been mugged and your cell phone been taken. Like, what happened? Because for like a 5-day stretch, guys,
It was
my phone is gone. Like,
It was a long time. Yeah.
Like,
So
police got involved.
I played on Monday. It was a very random. My buddies happened to be in town. It was his last day in town. He was like, "Any chance you can sneak out and get 9 with us?" It's an executive course. That's where we did the 4 club challenge. And so instead of unpacking my bag, I repacked an empty bag. So I threw the 5 wood, I threw an 8 iron, I threw a 56, and a putter. It's a short course. I think the whole course is 4,300 yards. So there's no par fives.
Okay.
There's quite a few like 75 or 80 yard par threes. And then there's also 2 that are 210. So it is, you kind of need this like weird variance in clubs. I won, which is very encouraging. Thank you very much. But I was on a call when I got there and hung up the phone, paid for my round, got to the first tee, we teed off, got to like the 4th or 5th hole, went to text my wife just to kind of like check an update because the kids were home and stuff, and couldn't find my phone. Assumed I had left it in the pro shop. We called the pro shop, nothing there. We called the snack bar, nothing there. They had somebody go out, look at the putting green and the chipping area where we were before, nothing there. They looked at the first tee, there was nothing. It was just gone. And so I checked again after the round, nothing, left my information. My buddy was like, "Don't you have an iPhone? We can check like the Find My iPhone." And this is not an ad for Apple, but I will say that the tech is pretty sweet. It shows up. It's 12 minutes from my house, and I'm 20 minutes from the course. So I'm like, okay, so somebody yoinked it, walked away with it. I get home, still there. I file the police. I want to go to the house. I'm like, I'm just going to go knock. Like, what are they going to do? Like, say I don't have it? I can ding it with my watch. Ding, ding, And my wife is like, please don't do that, because whatever, just lots of reasons, I'm sure, that cool-headed people think about before doing
could
things.
be ruffians.
Yeah.
Yes, or thugs.
Yeah. And also, I mean, there were tons of teenagers there. Like, who knows? Like, I don't want to really get anybody totally in trouble, but I would like my property back. That would be nice. So I called the sheriffs. They come over, they take a report. They're super friendly. They're like, we're going to go by. We're just going to go by. And if we can't do it today, we'll go do it tomorrow. We're hoping that we're just going to find it, because it hasn't moved since that like 4 p.m. It's in exactly the same spot. And it looks like somebody's garage. On Friday, my kids had a play date, and I took them to the play date, and the play date was across the park from the guy's house. I did not plan the play date. I did not. I was like, when the other mom texted, and she was like, when the mom of the other kids texted, that park, I started to laugh, because I was like, I've been staring at that park on Google Maps for 3 days.
Yeah, I know how to get to your house.
Yeah. So I drop the kids off, and I say, hey, listen, I'm just going to go knock on this guy's door. It's Friday afternoon. He's probably not home, but I'm just going to go try. And sure enough, door opens. Guy's looking out at down his sidewalk. And I say, hi, did you happen to play golf on Monday at Vista Valencia? It's the name. And he goes, are you here for the phone? And he comes out and he says, you can unlock it, right? Like, this isn't a scam. And I'm like, how would I know where you live? Like, what are in what world? But I was like, but yes. And he goes, tell me what picture is on the lock screen. And I said, it's my daughter and son as a witch and an astronaut. And he reaches through the gate and he gives me a big high five, and he says, I'll be right back. And he goes back to his garage, and sure enough, in his walking cart is my phone. So he had picked it up at the first tee, threw it in there, asked the starter, was like, did somebody lose a phone? Starter, I hadn't reported it stolen yet, or lost, not stolen. So he put it in there, forgot it was there, went home. It was exactly the thing that I thought might have happened. Completely forgot he had it. Actually played golf on that Friday morning. Realized it was there, was like, I'm such an idiot. I got to bring it back to the course, because now the battery was dead. So he couldn't even see the message that I had put on it. And so I got it back, which is great, because
Did you notify the sheriff that, hey, case closed, I got it back?
I sure did. And they hadn't even assigned a detective to it yet.
A detective.
And they were like, great. Oh, that's so great. I'm so glad you got it back. I was like, yeah. Yes, they have to. Yeah, they had to assign a detective because it's worth more than $1,000, which makes it some sort of like upgraded. I don't know if it's a felony or what.
Yeah,
but he
not
didn't
like petty
steal it.
theft
Yeah,
type deal.
exactly. Yeah. Now it's back. It
You
was
got the sheriff involved.
it was real.
I don't blame you. I'm just saying.
Like it's goofy, but I realize I look at that thing a lot, and like without that in my pocket, I think I just meandered around the house for a day, like a little depressed, a little just like
you don't have my phone. What am I supposed to do? Look straight ahead and interact with people?
Yeah. How exactly? How am I supposed to have a conversation with my children if I can't look down at the thing I'm playing?
You didn't know if Sam Han was trying to send you a Marco Polo, and
Yeah, that's right.
Well, the irony is, I have a Mac, and all of the apps I have on my phone, 90% of them I can use on my computer, and I completely forgot to like check in with people, check my text messages. I had 400 messages at some point when I got the phone back, and I was like, oh, I'm a bad person.
We were it crossed my mind, honestly, because it had been like 36 hours and I hadn't heard from you, which is
pretty rare,
atypical.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wonder if that guy's okay. I'm sure he's fine. And I went about my business, but still, it did cross my mind.
Briefly. Yeah.
All right, fellas. Well, real quick, let's talk our progress on our goals here. Right. And Jason, if you don't mind, I want to start with you because I think I got some feedback from you the other day. You've taken lesson number 1 on Skillist, right?
Yes. Yep. So my plan was to start Skillist in January. So I did that. I got video recorded to send to my coach.
Nice.
Last week, Thursday, and then we were out of town all weekend. So he analyzed it right away. Had stuff back on Friday. I didn't look at it till Sunday because I'm not home. I don't have any clubs. I don't want to be only thinking about what I need to fix on my golf swing instead of paying attention to the people that I'm with. So I held off till Sunday night, last night, and then I went through and watched his analysis of my swing, some of the feedback he gave in front of the camera, and then another drill. He gave me 2 different drills to work on. So what was not surprising, I released the club too early, which I've talked to you guys about. What I didn't realize I was doing, at least as excessively as I was, is sliding my hips towards the target way too much. So by the time I'm impacting the ball, the reason I'm flipping my hands is because my hands are like completely behind my body. I mean, like behind my back shoulder, behind my body. It's ridiculous. Wow. So we're working on improving turning through the swing instead of sliding so much. So a couple different drills, a step drill to work on that, and then one just like an external feedback with an alignment rod along my like a hand's width outside of my lead leg, so I don't slide too far. So it's something to turn around.
Is the step one the one where you step as you follow through?
So it's
a Gary Player deal, or
it's step back, and then it's almost like picking my lead leg up like I'm pitching. So I mean, very natural move for me to do.
Interesting.
I was hoping you'd let Brian and I just keep guessing drills till.
I should have.
Right.
I should have. So no, it's a your feet start closer together. Step back, step forward and down into transition, and then instead of continuing to move forward, stopping my momentum and turning around that front side to try to get through that a little bit more, which I'm doing right now, if you guys can't tell, in my chair as I'm speaking about it.
Well, we've established you love line dancing, so this sounds perfect for you.
I do.
That's right.
I do. I love a good line dance.
Are you more of a salsa or a tango kind of guy?
Oh no, neither. I need
square. That's right. You're a Midwestern. Well, you're a square dance boy.
Maybe a little electric slide. Maybe
Well, sure.
Matt's got the romance. He's
heel-toe,
probably a
do-si-do
tango
kind of
guy.
That's right. Oh yeah,
I got a rose here.
Let's go boot scooting.
Matt, you had an intelligent question.
Rude. Don't rush to judgment on that. The stepping drill, is that for feels, or is that an actual practical thing that you'll end up putting in, or is it more to get the sense of like, oh, this is what my hips need to feel like?
Yeah, it's more or less because essentially, kind of the way you explained it, like if I in that step drill, if I step and then I continue to slide instead of turn on that step, that lead leg step, I'm just gonna fall over. Like I'm gonna lose my balance. My trail foot's gonna come off the ground.
Yeah.
So it's more about learning how to use ground reaction force, which again I don't utilize the ground well. So it's stepping into the ground, using the ground to push back to clear the front side as I finish the swing. So that's going to be a great drill because I don't have to hit a golf ball with it. So I was doing that last night during the other portion of my off-season plans, which we'll get to in a moment. So I was doing that one a little bit last night, and I have not started the alignment rod outside the leg yet. I probably will take the next 2 weeks to work on those 2 drills. And then my lesson plan is 2 lessons a month. So then I'll refill and swing.
That's great. Yeah.
Send it back. He said if I have any questions or want some feedback to make sure I'm doing things correctly versus just watching myself and doing it, then I can send him one once in a while. I'm not going to over abuse privileges because he does unlimited plans as well, and I don't want to ask for more than what I'm getting.
Yeah.
But in terms of his analysis, how he does, his name is Jeff Wright. He's out of the UK. Anybody listening looking for a skillish coach, he's really good so far. His analysis is easy for me to understand. He delivers it in a way that makes sense to me. And I've said before on the podcast, I'm a very visual learner. So being able to see feedback of my own swing helps me physically feel it when I'm working on the drills. So it's off to a good start. It's very early yet. We're not even worrying about the hands and wrist angles. He wants to get the body right first, and then we'll look at that. So he said something like, your strikes might really suck for a while. He goes, just don't worry about it. So I think I'll probably buy some foam balls, and then there's really no feedback on the club anyways. But just have something to hit.
Sure.
So step 1 is going good. Step 2, which I was going to start in February, and then I got antsy, is the stack.
Nice.
Which again I talked about as well.
That's right.
So I picked up a PRGR from a forum member.
Cool.
And I got that again last week Friday, and then we left right away Friday. But that was fine. So that is in hand. I completed my baseline session last night, and I'll be starting foundations on the 8th. So I'm looking forward to that. That was a lot of fun in 30 minutes.
Yeah. Love to hear it.
Yeah.
Can I ask what's your baseline swing speed?
My top speed with driver was 106. And then the lead arm, trail arm, I thought was kind of cool, just to see if there's any discrepancies.
Isn't that cool? Which one was faster for you?
Lead arm was faster, but it was weird. Trail arm was more consistent with speed. I was like 90, 92, 93, 95.
Yeah.
Lead arm, and I think it's just a coordination thing. My first swing with my lead arm was like 83 miles an hour. So I'm like, what? Yeah. What was that?
Yeah.
Second one was 101. So I must have just did something better with my wrist or whatever. I don't know. Next one was 85. So I'm like, okay, the PRGR doing something weird? And then the last one was 100. So I don't know. But I thought that was kind of cool just because it, Sasho talks about it in the app just to see where there's an imbalance. And then if you need to do a focus on the lead arm or trail arm based on that. But no, it was fun, and I love sports science stuff and all that. So I'm really excited to dig into that and see what I can get to. I'd like to, like I said before, I'd like to be able to cruise at 110. But now that I'm at 106, it's like, well, I might be able to cruise faster than that. So I'm going to try to put the hammer down and see where we can get to.
Yeah, get to that tour average.
I've always had like an 8 to 10 mile an hour discrepancy, lead to trail or whichever. And I think I asked Sasha once, like, hey, what's that delta need to be for the app to actually trigger you to go do single arm session? He was like 20 to 25. Like, it's got to be a big delta.
Oh, wow.
Man, that'd be...
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I remember Sasha talked about a PGA pro who did the single arm swings, and I think it was like a 15 mile an hour difference.
That's crazy.
For that person. But and I was like, oh, if he gets that leveled out, he's going to be bombing it. I think actually he ended up having a good year.
So yeah, no, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to both things. And then the ultimate goal, I have it now set in my mind. Like, I'm averaging in the 80s this year. Like, anything more than that,
Let's go.
I will feel failed and I'm gonna push hard to break 80 just because I feel like with the correct training I can do it. So
All right. Well, first of all, be gentle on yourself.
well, yeah,
Averaging 80s is very different than
it is. Oh, it is.
Because, I mean, I guess I'm averaging in the 80s, but there's a lot that are like 92.
It is. There's a lot of variance.
They throw in there, and all of a sudden you're like, oh God, I got to go back to the work, and then the next week out you're at a low 80. So
yeah, No, there's gonna be scores in the 90s and the hundreds. I'm realistic. I'm not. That's not going to go away overnight, but.
Matt makes a great point though, because I don't think people understand, it took me a long time to get my head around it. Like when we talk about someone's handicap index, it's not a measure of your average score. It's a measure of your scoring potential. You know what I mean?
Is it 1 out of 200 you're going to beat your handicap? Something like that? Like there's whatever the percentage is, it's
low.
way smaller than I thought it was. I thought when I used to, once I get down into single handicap, I'm going to be breaking 80 all the time. And it's just not the case. Like it's, yeah.
Yeah.
Jake, can I ask, for the lessons, are you like, without going into specifics about the finances, I know lessons for me in my head were always unbelievable, basically unattainable, because it was over $100 an hour for most of the guys out here in Southern California. And I found one guy that I bought a 6-pack of lessons, and it was $300. And I loved those lessons. So I know it's always a balance of, if you have $100, do you go play 2 or 3 rounds, depending upon where you live, or do you take an hour's worth of lessons? It's sometimes it can feel like that's a really hard thing to do. So with the skill list, because it's online, is it discounted? Is it more reasonable?
Well, it's like Hayes wrote about his skill list experience with Trey in an article for my Golf Spy, and you can pay as much or as little as you want. I mean, there's guys that work with tour pros on skill lists that charge $450 for a session.
Skill list doesn't set the pricing; the individual instructors do.
Very cool. Okay, great.
It's just a platform. It's a lot like what Mike Carroll talked about with when he originally had Fit for Golf, just on a platform.
That's right.
It's a platform for coaches to work through. So Jeff, the coach that I work with, again, he's UK based, but his lessons start at $60 per lesson.
That's super reasonable.
And then it goes up a little bit from there based on what subscription level you choose.
Mm-hmm.
So mine is very reasonable for what I'm paying for the package I'm on. I wouldn't be able to get the same instruction locally.
That's such a cool thing. Yeah.
And I love the virtual. Like I said, I love the video analysis lessons here. Our pro in Reedsburg is awesome. He's a great instructor, but he doesn't use video. And I don't know if that's the case for a lot of in-person lessons. But I just I need the visual feedback to make any tactile changes. Like I can't, if I can't see it, I can't do it. And that's how I've been my entire life. Yep.
My guy did minimal video, but it was incredibly helpful to be able to see, because I thought I was absolutely shallowing the club, and I was so over the top that I literally was like, I don't know what that feels like then. I have no idea, because what I think I'm doing is my hands are way down here and I'm coming from inside out, and I was like itching, it's crazy. So it's hugely helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to keep droning on to myself. I'll shut up after this because you guys need to get to talk about your stuff
we've
too.
Established you're the star of the show, so keep.
But I am the only TPT list player here, so I gotta have some time to talk here. But what was nice too was like I'm going into this thinking like it's gonna be okay. We got to fix this, and we got to fix this, and we got to fix this, and we got to fix this. And the first thing he led off with is you do this really well. And he's like, your backswing looks good. You get into a good position at the top. You get a good, your rear hip turns and starts working towards the target. So like all that stuff was good. He said my swing plane was good. So I've always been worried about being too steep and coming over the top. And, knowing now that that's one aspect I don't have to worry about. Not that I can just forget about it, but it's something that it's not like, okay, that doesn't need to be fixed. There's things that do need to be fixed, but that was something that I was always figured out. I'm way hacking over the top. So it was good to know that only a portion of my swing looks like a garbage can and the rest is actually okay.
And when you get the hips figured out, I bet I bet you're going to end up being on plane. Like it sets
Right.
so much of the swing in motion. That,
Well, and also
Yeah.
then your hands are in the right position, and so like all the I think you're gonna all of a sudden find like, oh, this is not as
Well,
complicated as we
yeah,
make. I think we
it's-
make it go to the range and try 18 different things to make one change with no help is not the way to make a change. So
Yeah.
that's
Well,
really
it's like
cool.
it's my swing has felt close, and again, 16 handicap, like any other mid handicap, there's just too much inconsistency, and that inconsistency definitely with the way that I don't turn to finish my swing. Obviously, I'm going to have inconsistent low point. I'm going to have to throw my hands at the ball to get it there because my body's out of position. So, just knowing that there's a few things that can be cleaned up that should help me be more consistent with ball striking, that will then help me lower scores just out of that it's a really encouraging feeling versus feeling like, okay, I'm going to go to YouTube and find another video. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to go back to YouTube and find another video. It's invaluable. So I've been pitching my buddies here in town who are like, oh, I'm never going to break 90. I'm like, well, what are you doing to get better? And
Complaining about
the answer is, nothing. So, if you really want to get better, eventually there comes a time where you can't do it on your own anymore. So that's where I got to. And now I'm taking the steps to hopefully do it.
Okay, fine, Jason. I'll get off YouTube.
Yeah, come on, Brian.
Download Skillist, okay?
Well,
There you
Brian,
go.
I was
Give
just
it a
about to
shot.
ask you, what are you doing to get better? Same question, buddy.
Yeah, no. So I've actually started technically working out. I've been doing the push-up challenge, adding some squats too. It barely counts.
Is that because
Holiday
it's-
season was
someone else say
definitely
it. I don't want to say it.
no. Stop. I know. I'm already so close to the ground. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. I know.
Rico. There we go.
No, that's not what I was going to say.
That's short arms.
Brian's got to do 2 push-ups to my 1 just to make it count the same way.
That's your problem, not mine, buddy. No, but I started doing that. I'm actually kind of excited for like the legs and core workout. Jackson started ski club, my oldest son.
Oh, cool.
And we went yesterday. I didn't bring anything with me just because I wanted to make sure he got to his lesson fine and got settled in. And he loved it. He had a great time. And he's like, I want to go up the lift. So for the next, 5 weekends, I'm going to be bringing my ski gear too.
Nice.
I'll be skiing, and that will be
That's a workout.
good way to get into the workouts.
For sure.
Get the lower body
Yeah,
in gear.
You'll be reminded of some muscles you might not have used. in a while.
Don't know. I already know I'm going to be reminded. I'm going to be in pain, but it's fine. It'll be worth it. And then now that I know Jason started his stack up, I'm going to have to get his download code. I can add him to the group, and we can have some competition, which is always fun.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're into a
Always-
whole new world now, Jason.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Bring
You're
it
gonna
on,
see
boys.
Hayes' numbers, and you're going to feel minuscule. It's fine.
Is it a bench press competition?
I will
That's
lose
right.
that every time.
No, but so yeah, I guess technically the workouts are officially started, so that's a plus.
Nice.
Starting is the hardest part.
Mike was dead accurate the last time when he was on here. He said, usually it's getting the first rep. Like no one ever does the first one and that says, you know what, never mind. But it's getting that one done. That's the hard. So good on you, buddy. I'm glad to hear it.
And then I've also I ended up listening to an audiobook, which was the first time I've ever done it, and I listened to Every Stroke Counts
Okay.
by Mark Brody, which
Yeah.
I know what strokes gained is, but I hadn't kind of gotten the full story behind it, and it got me to thinking more about the equipment in my bag and everything like that. So I've kind of gone through my Arcos backlog of stats and looking to where I think I can most improve, and I'll be making some equipment decisions, based around that. Like one of the things is I'm losing too many strokes off the tee from penalties, but like my overall accuracy is 48%, which is right in line with my handicap range. And then my actual driving by hole length, I'm 450 yard plus holes. I'm positive strokes gain, 4 to 450 positive. It's the short holes that I'm losing the most strokes on.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm losing 1.3 strokes on 0 to 350 yard holes off the tee.
Are you too aggressive?
That's what I'm kind of wondering is it like, am I taking driver too much? Or I know like down at Royal New Kent, I got in trouble not hitting driver off the tee because I'd
You're so
hit
far
a
back.
hybrid
Yeah.
squirrely or something like that. And just feel like I should have just hammered a driver.
Yeah.
But so that was curious to me. Then I'm going to have to look into, and after listening to every stroke counts, like a lot of that stuff, I think I can apply. And I know, Hayes, you used Decade before, right?
You know, you stole my thunder a little bit there. I stopped using it for about 2 years, and then I ended this season kind of poorly. I just re-upped. I've re-upped my Decade Elite subscription. Yeah, so that's how I'm going to track my strokes gained, and I'm going to be using that system.
I'm going to have to get a primer on you from that because I feel like that might be an area where I can try to eke out a few strokes.
Yeah.
It's just making some smarter plays. And I guess apparently I'm going to have to go download Skillist, and maybe after the skiing's over, March-ish will be a good time to think about swing changes. Because I don't think my swing is in a really bad spot. So
I mean, you're the lowest handicap on this one, so yeah, must be doing something right. Matt, I know you're still playing, so you're in a bit of a different. What have you been working on?
Well, I originally just talked about like walking more. So when we did that little 4 club challenge, I walked, and it was the best I've felt in a long time. Like having lost a bunch of weight and started, it's obviously easier to carry less weight with you. So instead of carrying my bag and 60 pounds, it was just my bag. That was great. And and I actually like felt great the next day. Like it wasn't like sorry, I'm just Jay. Am I the only one that can hear it?
No,
Your
I can
nose,
hear it
Jason.
too.
Oh man.
Yeah. You're
At first I
exhaling
thought
forcefully, buddy.
literally thought somebody was making tea. There was a moment where I thought, "Am I
left my
hearing a
drafty
tea
window
kettle?"
open.
You know,
And-
usually we're known for mouth breathing here in Wisconsin, but
and I literally I had narrowed it down to either you or Hayes because
all right.
Brian was talking, and anyway, sorry, it's just making me laugh, and I was trying so hard to have a cognizant thought, and
I'll back off the microphone.
I can't wait to hear if this actually makes the edited cut.
Oh,
No, it
also,
won't, it won't.
No, and I've been sitting here trying to figure out how could I add it so that it wasn't so distracting, but it's like, you know, it's a high pitched. Anyway, it's funny.
So even when I'm not talking, it has to be about me today, guys.
It really
about
does.
you.
Today is about the.
No one's talking about me. I know.
Hayes, do you have something you'd like to say?
Hey, sir, are you asleep into the microphone? So I started walking. We went on a couple hikes. I know now I'm trying to like ring it back in. I'm like, where was I? We went on a few hikes over the kids' break, which was awesome. I've been trying to do that, and I've been trying to really focus on what is it that I want to do. You know, do I want lessons? Do I want to take every Friday and golf? Do I want, like, that's my day off, and it's kind of the day off. It's the day where I would need to have my lessons. So there is a sacrifice. Like if I buy another set of lessons from my local guy, he raised prices minimally, but still an incredible deal. And then do that once a month, and then play golf three times a month, which is pretty good. I can't really complain about that. That's where I'm leaning right now. I haven't really pulled the trigger on that yet, but I find the same thing. Like, I look at my rounds and I look at the scores, and I know that there are better, more consistent scores out there for me. And driver, I lose a lot of strokes off the tee. I don't have my stats in front of me, but I know in my heart that I am losing a lot. I just get into trouble, and then I have to try to manufacture. Like even on the little 3 club or 4 club challenge, I hit 5 wood off the tee on the first, and I tugged it into the left trees, and I had to hit this like ridiculous pitch shot. It was 145 yards with a 5 wood because there was trees directly in front of me, and it rolled up to about 8 feet in front of the green. Like, it was an incredible shot, but it was like one of those things where I'm like, if I didn't have to do that and try to manufacture something, I ended up
Mhm.
bogeying. I hit an okay chip. It went the opposite direction of what I thought it was going to do when it hit the green, and then I just missed my putt. So like those kind of bogeys, I feel like I have a lot of those bogeys where they just should have been pars. And if I had played the hole in any kind of not dumb way, and I know that, you know, it's not necessarily like I still have blow up holes. I can still have doubles and triples. It still happens, but those are getting less and less. It's the minimizing the dumb off the tee mistakes that are gonna. I think that's gonna help a lot. So
Yeah, we definitely need to try to get more into decade golf and those course management concepts in a future episode. Maybe even see if Mr. Fawcett himself will join us, because some of the stuff you just referred to, Matt, is definitely, like you said, there's a lot of strokes to be saved in just course management. You know,
I've never done anything like that. I've looked at my stats, like the year end recap stuff that the Gin app offers, or is it Gin or Gin, whatever, however you say it, GHIN. Stuff like that. Like I've looked at that stuff, and I've used ShotScope in the past, and then kind of fell out of love with it. And but I keep all of my stats. I mean, my scorecard has every fairway, every green, every long any drive over 250. I kind of marked down as to, you know, where that was and how many putts and how long the first putt was. So like I have all that information. I just don't catalog it anywhere. But yeah, I would love to. If you have a referral code, I'm happy to throw you, you know, $5.
I will look into that.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, a whole $5.
He's what are you looking at this offseason, Hayes?
You know, I mean, the decade thing was kind of my
I
big
think that's
thing.
all our time. Jason,
I'm sorry, Hayes.
Oh, can I finish
didn't mean
off?
to ruin that for you.
Yeah.
Jason, I wanted to come back to you real quick. What do you think Hayes should work on?
Right. Yeah. No, I'm pulling all the levers, you guys. You know, so the holidays, the whole carnivore diet thing. I mean, just if you're doing any sort of diet, just forget it when it comes to holiday time, right?
Cool.
There wasn't a carbohydrate in sight that I didn't devour. But I'm back on that. I moved on to Mike Carroll's Fit for Golf Force program now. So now it's low reps and really high weight. You know, just trying to build strength. Doing that for 3 months, and that'll be into the velocity program and hopefully actually golfing. Started a new stack program. Just did my first, but it's on a flex program. You know, just the kind of maintenance protocol.
Okay, yeah.
Can't cold plunge right now, so I'm taking cold showers. You know, and I did just get a lesson myself a little while ago from Trey, my regular instructor. So he's giving me some indoor drills to work on, and same thing as you, Jason. People have heard me kind of lament my poor ground reaction for, you know, my poor use of the ground. He started with like, hey, you're doing much better on your weight distribution, and it's complimentary. And, you know, I don't know if it's just a trick of the trade to keep you coming back, but I don't, if it is, I don't want to know. Right.
Well, they got to build you up before they tear you down. I mean,
That's right.
That's
Yeah.
They want to tell you what you're doing well, and then show you where to improve.
But then, like I said, I went to Abandoned Dunes through the magic of technology and lit that place up. So he might be right, you know?
It's really true.
He's
Yeah.
onto something.
Yeah.
Well, we got to get everybody an Oculus so that we can actually play.
Golf Plus is so much fun.
As you pick any course you want. What do you want to play? You want to go play Sawgrass? We'll play Sawgrass. Play Pebble. Come out my way. You strap the thing on. You look like an idiot, and there's a
definitely
real.
look
I
like
have
an idiot.
my wife has so many pictures and videos of me just almost hitting fans, and like I've avoided disaster a couple times.
Well, I've watched my son like swinging a lightsaber around with that thing on, and I don't know if I could do that. Look,
it is. I mean, it is awesome. We are
Just
now
think of it
sponsored
as a
by,
training aid.
by the Oculus Quest S3, 3S, whatever it's called. Doesn't matter. They're not listening. I'm going to stop now.
But if you are, you could
But
be
if
our
you
first
are,
sponsor.
Yeah.
No, but Golf Plus is legitimately fantastic. Like when you open up the course, the birds chirp, the wind blows.
Yeah.
You look around that first tee box. It is.
The wind blows,
It is-
or Jason just breathes into the microphone. Sorry.
Yeah, I get my. Oh, God damn it! Well, now it has to make the cut because that's the best joke we've had in
We'll
3
find a way.
weeks. Oh my God, that's great.
Yeah.
No, I have my kids just blow right on on me as I swing. Watch out for Daddy's hands. You know, just.
And now we know how you got sick. It's fine.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Oh no, they're perfectly healthy. They're just petri dishes. Anyway,
Fellas,
but,
I think
I need-
that's
You
Go
got
ahead.
anything specific? So, because I see the ground force board, and the last time when I think I told you guys this. So when I played with this Titleist Pro, we were backed up. It was a really long round, and randomly I asked him something, and he was like, "Yeah, your swings okay. You're leaking power all over the place." Like it was the first, and I was like, "All right, let's get into it."
How
And,
can it be okay if I'm leaking power all over the place?
No, but because the ball mostly goes where I want it to go. You know what I mean? Like I'm still hitting shots thin and fat, and that obviously it's not like he shot 1 over, I think, and I shot 11. It was clear that he was the person to get advice from, but yeah, but he specifically mentioned that I do not use the ground at all. He was like, "You're such a big dude. If you just use the ground to your advantage, you could absolutely pick up speed. Like it would just happen." And I have tried the thing that he said like 4 times at the range, and I'm just like, it's the same speed over and over again. Whatever I'm doing, I'm not doing what he told me to do. So I every time we do one of these, I'm looking at that boogie board back there, thinking, "I gotta get me one of those." So that's it, right?
I'm a fan. I like it.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
ship
I
it
use
out
it a
here.
lot.
Ship it out here while it's cold out there, and you can't use it like a snowboard.
Yeah.
And,
You
or
know,
maybe
the
you
funny
do
part
use it like a
is
snowboard.
I do have another one, but it's in my office.
Oh, that is what I. Okay, we can
He
wait.
can't
We
travel with it. He's got to have more than one.
That is incredible. Yeah. So we go to the park 4 days ago, something like that, and different park from when I found my phone. We go to this park, and there's those park exercise equipment. So there's a stationary bike and something else, and then there's this thing. There's 2 little things for your feet. You put your feet in it, and then you spin you can spin while holding a bar. And of course, I'm on there, and it's probably for hip rotation or something. I don't know, Jason. You can probably chime in here, but the only thing I did was try to use the ground to make a golf swing, and I realized I'm just that guy. I'm at that stage in my life where if you look at me, the chances are pretty high that I'm practicing a putting stroke, a chipping stroke, a drive. I'm doing something over here, But yeah, my kids were like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "This thing feels great." I'm like spinning. I'm like, is this what it's supposed to feel? So I think I might need to invest in one of those things. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of it. Maybe a little too much of a fan. We need to wrap this up, but I will say, I think my secretary had a good laugh and maybe some concerns when she opened the door to my knocked and didn't give me enough time to say, don't come in or yes, what is it?
right.
Open the door, and there I am standing on one of those things with a smart ball between my arms and a wedge in hand.
Fantastic.
And I'm like, and I just said, "Hey, I'm on my lunch break. Nobody said I can't do this. What is it?"
Great.
It's only happened
Great.
once.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Hey, priorities, right?
That's right.
And she'll
This
have
is
that
how-
story forever. That's the
You
best
gotta
part.
find that time.
Yeah.
You gotta find that time.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, fellas, it's been great to do this again after the holiday break.
Yes.
Appreciate
Nice to see
it.
everybody again. I know it's weird, but we went a couple weeks, and I was like, I miss everybody. It's nice to be back. And
And I think our listeners missed us too, so we won't leave you again with such a gap.
Ever.
We apologize, or at least until the next holiday season.
That's right.
There we go.
Ooh, a little Sandlot for you. Nice.
You betcha.
There it is.
Absolutely. All right.
All right.
All right, boys.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
All right, bye.
See you next
Peace.
week.
Come on, baby. Oh, be so good. Hi. Oh, you're back. Sorry. Getting a little Torrey Pines. Anyway, hope you like that. I'm very proud of myself for not hitting the cabinets this time. That is something I have done many times. In fact, woke the wife up last week. She ran down and she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Nothing." Except I had that thing on my head. So it was a little obvious that I was lying. Don't lie to your significant others. They always know. Anyway, hope you guys had a blast. If you can't tell, we really like hanging out with each other, and we're so grateful that you're joining in and asking us questions, making us laugh. And next week, we've got a pretty great guest. Jason Coughlin from Wisconsin Golf Addicts is going to be with us talking about best tips for making your trip, how to plan early, how to do it right. I think you're really going to like it. As always, you can follow us on socials. We've got, you know what it is by now. Why do I even have to tell you? Bogeyballsociety@gmail.com is our email. You can email us questions. You can email us suggestions. You can email us recipes. You know, like what's a great recipe that you love? I made a really good French toast this week. It's neither here nor there, but yeah, that's right. I cook. Anyway, you can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on YouTube. You're probably watching this on YouTube anyway, but come find us. Come ask us some questions. Engage with us. We would love that. And we'll see you guys next week. All right. Peace.